traumatized.
My son was wrongfully killed.
Strong words from a grieving father, Taz Lambert, mourning the loss of his son, Matthew, the father of 3 children, killed Sunday afternoon. The shooting in this normally quiet Geneva neighborhood rattling those that live here.
Matt would stand up for anyone. He'd always have your back in any situation. He was fun. He was outgoing.
They just kept reaching back and asking to see Daddy.
Matthew Lambert, just a few days shy of his 30th birthday. Geneva police not saying much about what led up to the shooting, only saying there was some sort of altercation between the shooter and Lambert. Witnesses tell 19 News it all started with a Pizza Hut delivery driver speeding down their street. During a confrontation, things got heated.
My grandson's on the bicycle down there. I mean, it's only 25 through here anyhow. Why do you got to be flying like this? He starts running his mouth to me, and I look down. He's pulling out a pistol on me then, and I step back, and I'm hollering. I said, I'm done with you. I'm done with you. I'm done with you. I close the door. I go to walk back around the front of the car but to get in my truck. He hits me, knocks me down on the ground, continues to get up like here. My son sees that. He starts hollering, dude, you hit my dad. Meanwhile, my 8-year-old grandson's there on a bicycle.
That's when Matthew Lambert got involved. Taz says the Pizza Hut driver fired a shot.
And he just took a point-blank dead shot. I mean, it went to the heart.
Neighbors say after the delivery driver fired a shot, he then called 911 on himself. I reached out to the Pizza Hut here in Geneva, but as you can see from this sign, they are closed for today.
All he wanted to do was protect his children.
Geneva police are still investigating. We're waiting to hear if charges will be filed or if Ohio's Stand Your Ground law will be in effect. In Geneva, Kate Tursek, 19 News.
Now, we also asked Pizza Hut's corporate offices for a comment as well. They tell us they are incredibly saddened by the incident, but they say they are cooperating with local law enforcement.
All right, Nick, 19 News continues to follow the breaking news. 9 people shot in the Warehouse District. This happened early Sunday morning on West 6th Street. An unknown suspect opened fire toward a group of people. The 9 victims who were injured, all, thankfully, so far have survived. Joining us now is Cleveland Mayor Justin Bibb, Police Chief Wayne Drummond, 19 investigator Sarah Goldenberg.
Thank you, Chief and Mayor, for being with us today. First, everyone wants to know, what can you tell us about the latest on the search for the suspect? Can you give us more of a description, and do you know anything about the gun that was used?
Right now, we, from talking with Commander Tucker of the 3rd District, we're following up some very promising leads. His investigators have been working tirelessly since this happened, looking at different footages and so forth, the surveillance footage. What we have right now is a black male. We didn't have age at this particular time, with a gold grill in his mouth and teeth. So based on that and based on some Crime Stoppers tips, we're following up on, again, some very promising leads.
Mayor, it is a sad day for our city. Yesterday was, today is too. You were angry yesterday, but I want to ask you what it was like to get that phone call. I want you to try and put into your own words what that emotion is like when you hear that, when you hear from an aide or from your chief or someone. We've got 9 people shot in the Warehouse District.
My heart just sunk to the bottom of my stomach. I was at a loss for words when I got the call from Chief Wayne Drummond. And thank God we didn't have any fatalities in that mass shooting. And I was really expecting the worst when I got that call. But I'll tell you this, the men and women of our police department responded with compassion. They were quick, provided first aid immediately to all the victims. And I'm so proud of the hard work they did over the weekend, but I'm also very proud of the hard work they've been doing around the clock to cut down on violent crime all across our city.
And Mayor, yesterday you talked about the GOP. You blamed them for a part of the shooting. You blamed the gun laws for playing a part in this shooting. What do you hold yourself accountable for?
Well, the one thing I hold myself accountable for every single day is making sure that we are being innovative and working around the clock to spare not one expense to ensure we are keeping our community safe and secure. Last year, we negotiated the largest pay increase for our police officers, and 11% pay increase over the next 3 years. We're working around the clock with the FBI and U.S. Marshals to cut down on gang activity, drug activity, and get illegal guns off the street. But I'll tell you this, right now in our city, I can't pass one law around gun safety. I can't pass one law around background checks. I can't pass one law to make sure We have red flag laws in our city or our state. All things as a mayor of a big city I can't do because the Republican-led legislature makes it harder for big city mayors to pass common sense gun reform. And over 80% of Ohioans agree. And I believe in the Second Amendment. My dad was a cop. My grandma had a weapon and had a permit. Right now, we don't have those tools. So I need more tools. And I'll work with anybody as mayor to keep our city safe and secure.
Mayor, Senate Bill 215, we know what it did with the concealed carry, and you're talking a lot about what you can't do. I think what people want to know is what can you do right now? What are you doing, along with the chief, right this second, right this minute, today, tomorrow, and the next day, to stop this gun violence in the city? And I understand that your hands are tied here, but the people in this city want to know what you're going to do today and tomorrow.
Well, what we're doing, we'll be making an announcement tomorrow about a brand new set of investments we're making in police. Everything from signing bonuses to a referral bonus to allow our officers to refer new cops to the beat. Also looking at an increase in academy pay for new cadets joining the police department, and looking at modernizing our civil service process to ensure we can recruit in a more effective and modern way. We're also in early conversations with the juvenile court to look at a pilot program to cut down on carjacking, particularly with juveniles. And just yesterday, the chief had good conversations with U.S. Marshal and the FBI and the State Highway Patrol to get more resources to Cleveland. So I'm not going to spare any expense, but we need more tools, and I work with anybody from the business community to our foundations to keep our community safe and secure long term.
Mayor and Chief, we got to take a quick break, and we're going to be back with a few more questions in just a moment.
Your microphone is rubbing on your, and every time you talk.
That cord there, so it's not sticking out too. Whoop. We just can't get together with.
You got a problem?
I'll tell you about after. Yes, sorry, it's just something that happened. We'll talk about it.
Welcome back. We're continuing our conversation with the chief and mayor of Cleveland when it comes to the mass shooting in the city over the weekend. And Mayor, I'd like to get back to speaking about gun laws. A lot of these criminals you're dealing with in these violent crimes, they're criminals. They're not listening to laws.
No.
What do you think would work with them? And in a lot of these cases, the guns that they're using, they're already illegal. So can you just seize them now? Do you need a reason?
Well, first and foremost, one thing we're going to be doing is working more closely with our judges and prosecutors to make sure we have tougher cases to deter violent criminal behavior in our city. We've had an early conversation with Judge Sheehan a couple weeks ago. We're going to have a more robust conversation with the entire judiciary here at the county and the city level as well. Secondly, the chief and I are in very productive conversations as well with the U.S. Attorney to make sure we can bring more harder gun charges against these violent criminal offenders in our city. I would also say we need to make sure that we use the full weight of the law when it comes to public safety. And as I said before, I'm not going to spare any expense. The chief of police, Wayne Drummond, and I, we've been thinking differently about how we address hot spots and bad behaviors in our city. I'll give you one example. Just a couple weeks ago, we expanded our violent crime reduction task force to include not just the vice and gang unit and drug unit, but also we're including building and housing, our fire department, to cut down on problematic after-hours spots. So we're going to make sure we use every tool in our arsenal, but I need more tools. And that's why we need a comprehensive approach to address violent crime in our city at every level of government, federal, state, and local.
Okay. Chief and Mayor, we appreciate your time. Chief, were you going to say something?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I want to kind of follow up with the mayor and the question that you asked relative to individuals that have guns. Their probably guns are illegal and so forth. It's important that we give our officers tools. Part of the tools is when you have this permitless carry, the individuals who probably shouldn't have a weapon, they're carrying their weapons now because they know that we don't have just the probable cause just to approach them and say, hey, are you carrying anything? So that's the tool that was taken away from us. Our officers don't have that tool to approach folks based on probable cause. We're not going to violate anyone's constitutional rights. So having that particular tool will more than likely keep someone who shouldn't have a weapon to carry a weapon, especially into downtown Cleveland, where we have enhanced patrols with our downtown services unit.
Chief, I want to follow up on that real quickly because you said something yesterday that was really interesting to me. And when you were talking about being able to take those guns away from people in the concealed carry, really makes that difficult to do. But then you mentioned an over-reliance on police. Could you explain what you meant by that?
Absolutely, and I want to be clear. It's important that we have full staffing. I want to have full staffing of police officers, and we're working on that.
And that's why I asked the question.
Yeah, I want to make sure that it's not lost. That I'm not saying we don't need additional officers. I want 1,498, which is our full staffing. I want to get there, but I still think there's an over-reliance on the police to take care of a lot of issues that sometimes are not police related, like someone that's in a mental crisis. That should be individuals who are trained and licensed to deal with that. Sure, someone has a gun, that's our responsibility to get there, take that gun from that person, especially if it's illegal, and hold them accountable for whatever crime they may have committed. So again, I believe there's an over-reliance on police for certain matters. Someone shooting a weapon, that's us, that's our responsibility, and our guys do a really good job taking those individuals off the street.
There's a lot of communities out there now who have mental health crews going out with EMS who are sent, and you've got dispatchers who are trained in that to decide, hey, this is a police call, this is an EMS call with a mental health expert. Maybe we can get to that level here.
We've already started that. Last year, using American Rescue Plan dollars, we expanded our co-responder model of policing in all 5 police districts that are trained in crisis-informed training. We also just hired a senior strategist in our administration to develop a care response model so social workers and mental health professionals can join our officers for nonviolent 911 calls. And so we want to be innovative. We also need to be aggressive on tactical law enforcement, and that's the mandate the chief has every single day.
I was aware of that because we did a story on
did.
it, and we'll continue the story on those solutions.
Absolutely. We're being very strategic, Brian, in what we're doing and so forth. We're adding 5 analysts, 1 for each of the police districts, so we can be very strategic in what we're doing, leveraging our partners with the FBI, partnership with the FBI, the ATF, as well as the Marshal Service and Ohio State Troopers and so forth to come in and have targeted patrols in these hotspot areas.
Chief, Mayor, thank you so much for speaking with us today. We'll continue to track whatever solutions you're trying to put out to the community, because that's what's important.
Thank you.
All right, thank you
Thanks
both.
for having us.
We really appreciate it.
Yep.
Rachel?
This is a 19 breaking traffic alert.
This breaking alert is for Wayne County, where I've reported on this crash that's on 71 North at Congress Road. That stretch of slowdowns is now 6 miles long, and that's where drivers are going at best just 4 miles per hour. So I put the breaking alert on this because that stretch of slowdowns is causing